Hey everybody, and welcome to Geek Freaks. And today we are talking about all things geek. For the last month or so, we had so much Game of Thrones stuff that we have a lot of news to cover. Going over the Star Wars Celebration news, PS5 reveal, slight reveal, and some of the Disney Plus stuff, and so much more. We also have a review for a comic book that we'll be talking about towards the end of the show. Make sure you stick around towards that. It's really good read. We have Jonathan.
What's up?
Squeaks. And with us today, Susan. Normally I would say, like, when you guys watch stuff like that, we have so much to go over. Let's just get right into it, okay?
Nice.
TV series-wise, the Halo TV series cast Pablo Schreiber as Master Chief. He is in, like, American Gods and stuff like that. But what I remember him as is in Orange is the New Black, he's Porn Stash.
Oh, yeah. Okay. the guard.
Yeah, you
remember
recognize it right away because of that.
Remember the guard from the first couple seasons, and then he ends up leaving because he
got that girl
goes
pregnant?
crazy. He thinks he got the girl pregnant.
Yeah, supposedly.
Oh, yeah.
The mean guard from the first season. Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
He's going to be like the
voice of Master Chief in the
He
new
is
series?
Master Chief's face.
Oh, really?
Because it's a TV series done by Showtime.
Hold on, they're going to do
it's
it with
live
it's
action?
Master Chief?
Yeah.
So we're going to actually have a face on him?
Because it's not in the comic books, it's a TV show version. Yeah.
But
It's still shaky to the core.
TV series Master Chief is different than the video game Master Chief.
Right, we're not going to see that face in the video
We
games.
shouldn't see a face.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, it's sacrilege to show up, but nevertheless, it's very big shoes to fill. I think it's going to be hard to do. Because that's one thing with Master Chief is why we've always had the same kind of voice, but it was still easier to impersonate him, to be him in the game because you never saw the face. That's going to be hard to do.
Is this going to be on
Showtime.
Showtime? Okay,
Yeah.
on Showtime.
Yeah.
It's better for him to be like a myth in the game, at least, because then there's no limitations or anything like that. It's all just, if you put a face on him, then he's human, then he's mortal and all that.
Hopefully it's good. Showtime's been working on this project for like 9 years or something like that. They've been trying real hard to get it done. Yeah, because they had Steven Spielberg working behind it. It's one of those things where it's like started and stopped so many times that any news from this is pretty big because casting means you're pretty far down the road. Mm-hmm. But anytime something comes up, it's always like, oh, this director changed up for that director and stuff like that, and that's always that's ground one rework. So it's
Has Showtime been producing anything? I've heard about American Gods, but have they produced anything else of value recently?
Black Flag was good. They've been doing little things here and there.
Yeah.
Last thing I remember was Spartacus was on
Spartacus,
that, right?
good example.
Okay,
yeah. Tutors was theirs. I loved Tutors back when that was around. That was really good. But yeah, they're definitely not HBO. That's the thing. You got Game of Thrones over there. I mean, what are you gonna do? Veep and last week tonight. All right. Next up, Disney showed off their Disney Plus streaming service. This is coming out. We have a release date finally, November 12th, 2019. A lot of the platform looks like Hulu and Netflix, where it's got the tiles you move around with the shows on there and stuff like that. A lot like Hulu, really. It's going to be very similar in the way that they're broadcasted on the Xboxes, on your Amazon Fire, your TV, your remote, or your phone, everything like that. This is the best part, priced at $6.99 a month or $70 for the full year.
Wow.
So that's a pretty good price.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
They're going to be able to beat a lot of people out with that. You're going to get all Disney movies, Pixar, Star Wars, and Marvel, except for Song of the South. They're keeping that one off of there.
That's good call.
Smart move. You're getting every single Simpsons, all the Malcolm in the Middles, everything that like Fox did TV show wise that is family friendly. You got a good reaction to that. What's going on?
Oh, no, I just kind of forgot that. Will the future Simpsons be exclusive to this now?
No, they'll be on Fox.
They'll be on Fox, though?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. I did see a trailer of Simpsons with Disney collab. Did you see that with like Dumbo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah. I'm excited for the streaming service to have. I mean, that's a big selling point to me because that's something I'll just play in the background.
Besides the main one that got announced for a TV series, Mandalorian, I thought there was another one they announced.
They announced a
else.
series of them. Mandalorian we'll be talking about in great deal with the Star Wars Celebration. They have quite a few. They have of course the Loki Marvel show. They've got the Scarlet Witch one. They have a Falcon and Winter Soldier. I have it written down. I don't know what I'm thinking of it.
Damn, that's crazy.
They're also starting a couple animated shows that are Marvel. They have Marvel Hero Project, Marvel 616. You familiar with the 616 title? I'm not familiar with that. I know 616 is our Earth in the Marvel world. It's the world that has, because they have multiple Earths, that's the Earth that has like the Captain America we know and stuff like that. And then they have the Marvel's What If series coming out, which is one of my favorite comic book lines. That's the one where you'd have a regular story go on in the normal continuity where the famous one that everybody talks about is Spider-Man beats Punisher. Mm-hmm. Then you have the spinoff a what if title where what if Spider-Man died to Punisher, and then how that would affect things. So it just takes like normal storylines and then like, well, what if the bad guy won, or what if whatever.
It could be a Doctor Strange series right there.
It could be like a Twilight.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say, would it be a different episode every month, or every week, or every whatever it is?
Yeah, I think we would get like a Black Mirror out of it,
That'd
where
be
it's a
pretty neat.
fully different story
Yeah.
every week.
That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
With all the Marvel characters in it, or just the Marvel characters from the TV series.
Well, I mean, Disney obviously so far. I mean, they're using Tom Hiddleston to play Loki. They're getting, they're using the actual actors to play these TV characters. So they could literally have Chris Hemsworth come in for a one-off. Where what if Thor became king before Odin died, or something like that, or what if what if Captain America didn't die in the plane crash, and he lived out his life as a man back in the day?
What if Thor
That's pretty neat, actually.
was jealous and killed Loki when they were kids or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of fun stories, and they have the funding and the ambition to just, all right, well, let's do it. Any Disney properties you'd want to make into a TV show for the streaming service.
I think Monsters Inc. Is that Pixar?
There is a lot of Pixar shows coming and stuff like that too.
That'd be cool to see a Monsters Inc. TV show.
They mentioned a Forky TV show, which is the fork that's in the future Toy Story 4 movie. I like him. He's already got me just from the advertisements.
Yeah, just that kind of go off what you were saying, Jonathan, about Monsters Inc. I think that would be good, but more of like talking about Boo, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We get to see her grow up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that would be like a nice spinoff, saying like her grow up like through her adolescent ages as a young adult. Like, how did seeing all these monsters affect her childhood? Does she grow up to be like a creative like adult, or does this make her like twisted kind of thing?
And you have the typical like, oh, I'm in school drawing these monsters, people think she's weird.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
And now that they aren't afraid of the monsters and they make them laugh, they develop a friendship. But as the kids get older, just like Toy Story, they don't need the toys anymore. The kids don't need the monsters anymore. So then you see like Sully and Mike start to like have this separation thing where Boo's not there when they come to make her laugh.
She wants to go to prom, but they had scheduled like whatever trick or treat or something.
Yeah, she's
like
out
whatever.
with like a boyfriend or something like that. So then the door doesn't work or something like that because they're no longer needed.
Don't they show it like in the first movie, right? Like I think it was in the first movie, one of the scenes where the monster's trying to go in and it's like a teenager room and they just end up shredding the door because like the kid didn't get scared.
Broken. Yeah.
So
they
taped it off and
decommissioned the doors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like
and then
that.
like Sully, because Sully is now the CEO of the Monsters Incorporated, right? So he would be like fighting to keep her door alive, even though she's not scared anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like the board's saying like, no, you got to shred it. Yeah. And he's like, I'm the boss. So that's, I don't know. It'd be kind of fun.
Be cool.
We might be thinking too big on the show, but.
And then he'd have a heart to heart with her and she would tell him to move on kind of thing or something.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. And then I want to see a team up where she teams up, because I'm a big fan of the Pixar's United thing. To where like, I think Incredibles is in the same universe. I think that.
Oh yeah.
They're all in the same universe, right?
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of funny if you like got was it Violet from Incredibles, Boo at the right age, the girl from Inside Out.
Yeah.
All of them became friends.
Yeah.
Cool. So I don't know, that'd be kind of cool. Anyways, so yeah, streaming service coming from them, and it'll be November 12th. It'll be pretty much on everything.
Take my money.
I know.
Yeah, really.
It's not even that much, which is fantastic.
At first I was trying to like, no, I don't want to do another streaming service. Then I heard the more that was coming out with, I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
I'm already gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Later on, go ahead, I'm sorry.
If you don't get it, the only downside is I imagine most, if not all, Disney and Fox stuff's going to get pulled off the other streaming services.
It has to.
By the
right?
end of the year, Netflix will have no Disney stuff on their streaming service. And we'll talk about Mandalorian. We're going to talk about all the Disney or all the Star Wars related stuff towards the end. So right now we're going into video games. We're not going to be talking about Fallen Order. Yeah. So for video games, Nintendo stocks surge after they get a great deal with, I want to say the company is, I don't have the company right in here. I think it's called Tencent. Actually, I'm pretty genius. I'm pretty sure it is Tencent. They get a deal with Tencent to have the Switch brought to China. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but China, up till about 2 years ago, had a 15-year ban on consoles.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're trying to phase out Western influences.
Yeah.
So United States had Xbox and stuff like that. And Japan had Nintendo and the PlayStation. They were trying to not have those influences into their culture. So they just did PC and mobile games. That's why PC and mobile games over there is crazy. They're really big on the free, like the microtransaction stuff. That's what most of their gaming is. Is they're all on the free games that you buy skins for.
Yeah.
That's why this Tencent, actually, they bought Riot. They're the ones that own League of Legends.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it's called Tencent. Anyway, so they made a deal with them, and so now they're going to be getting into the Chinese market. The ban has been lifted on consoles a couple years ago, but it has been a really slow, like, trying to get in there. It's really hard for Xbox, like, still it doesn't barely take off over there because it's not what they're used to.
It's not an economy that is, if you've put a new product out there, they're not used to buying it, so they're not going to jump on it. So you can't invest a bunch of your company's money into spreading over there, right?
Yeah. And we see that in movies too. Like now movie studios are trying to court China more. A good example is not the last Transformers, the good one, Bumblebee, but the one before that, which was terrible, purposely had him crash in China, and then like the guys were in an elevator with a famous Chinese Olympian, and then later on were like in a car race with some Chinese boxer or something like that. You know, they made sure that they brought in that court because it's a big market, and they're only allowed. I'm throwing out numbers I'm not positive on. They're only allowed 10 out of country movies on the theaters at any year.
Oh wow!
So it's a real big competition to get approved by China to get into the markets, because then you open up over 1 billion people.
Yeah.
And they're becoming more movie watchers. Now they're trying to get them into becoming console gamers as well. The Switch, I think, is perfect for this.
That's got to be so hard, though, because PC gaming has a lot wider, what do you call it? Not exposure, but you can do a lot more with PC games than console
And with through
games.
emulators, you could have played the Switch already.
Yeah.
Technically.
And with Stadia, pretty soon you won't need consoles, period, pretty much, right?
Good chance Stadia is not going to be allowed in there.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They don't like Google.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They have their own services. There's even a Chinese streaming service, video game streaming service, like Steam, and not necessarily streaming, but like a Steam for them. But it's made by this Tencent, and they're actually bringing it to the West. So we could actually play some of their games. And I'd be interested to try it out, you know, as long as it has subs for me to understand.
Yeah.
We all loved a lot of Japanese games. Final Fantasy is all Japanese games. That terrible Kingdom Hearts was a Japanese game. Couldn't even finish it.
Well, I think Disney has a big influence over there in China, right? Because they have that theme park there.
Yeah, Disney does well, not as well as here. And it's different parts of Disney that's big over there.
Yeah, because I think Marvel or Endgame just had their Chinese, what do you call that when they go and try to show off the movie? What do you call that?
Yeah,
like a press
pre-release.
Press day? Is that what it is? Yeah,
Well,
whatever
like the premiere or whatever.
A show off. Yeah, something like that. And I think they went over there. It was like a huge stadium that was filled up with it.
And see, that's what they'll do sometimes is they'll make sure to go there first for a couple of days, and not necessarily always there. Sometimes they'll go to like Middle East or they'll go to Europe. They'll do a premiere there first nowadays just so that they can kind of court the global market, because the global market's becoming stronger and stronger. Well, American market's doing good, but, you know, now we can make more money.
Yeah.
You know, we're all becoming one, so they're doing that. Another cool video game news. It's an unfortunate event what happened with Notre Dame, but Ubisoft not only donated a ton of money, but they actually gave away Assassin's Creed Unity for everybody. Assassin's Creed Unity is an Assassin's Creed that takes place in France. It's circled around Notre Dame. I mean, I remember very well climbing all over Notre Dame. You can't climb a lot in that game. So they gave away the game free for everybody. Huge PR success. What'd you think about this?
I think that's pretty cool, because a lot of people who haven't played the game, don't have the exposure to it. I mean, that building is no longer there, but I'm sure the game producers put a ton of detail, very vivid, you know, taking pictures and studying the building to try and, I mean, of course they can't put everything in there, but as much as they can. So
it's a very accurate 3D remodeling.
Because they did a 3D scan or something.
They did
like
the scan
that,
of it,
right?
So that's awesome. That's, I mean, I'm sure it's great PR, like you're saying, for them. That's also, you know, great thing to be able to just give to the people.
Yeah, it was really cool. The building is still standing. Basically, after everything was said and done, pretty much just the wood roof needs to be replaced.
Oh, that's
so yeah,
really?
Yeah,
it looked terrible.
It did. Yeah, but like the they had this rose stained glass when you walk in. That was like the thing. They were like, that needs to be there. Yeah. And sure enough, it still stood. All the behind the everything did really well. So, but it is getting repaired. They needed $1 billion or something like that to do it. And France was going to pay for it all, but they're way past that just from like Disney donating. And a lot of French corporations donated.
That's what I heard too.
Wow,
they're way past it now.
Let's work on world hunger.
Yeah, I know.
Clean water?
I was talking to a friend about that. I was like, yeah, that's good that they got the roof on there, but there's a lot of kids that are hungry. I'm like, okay, one thing at a time. So, Division 2 pushed back its first raid to May. Have you guys played Division 2 at all? I looked at Susan. I know you're not
No.
It's on my list to buy, but I haven't bought it yet.
Me and Daniel did a review of it, and I kind of feel bad. That's why I wanted to make sure to mention this raid, so I kind of talk about Division 2 as well. I felt bad because we both gave it very bad reviews.
Really?
Yeah. I gave it a 72, he gave it a 73, which I feel is pretty bad because I really liked the first game.
Out of what?
Out of 100.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I mean, if you look online...
So confused.
Yeah, 72 out of 83. No, but online, like all the reviews are mid-80s and higher. Okay. And I just want to reiterate, the reason we didn't give very good reviews is because we thought the story was terrible. It didn't,
was it really?
It just didn't give you much of a story. And a game that's big and open world, I like when it's a good story, a la Red Dead Redemption or something like that. Red Dead Redemption might be the best Western I've ever seen, and it's a video game. It was just a really, really bad story. Didn't have me interested at all. And then I haven't gotten to the very end yet. And Daniel's like, oh yeah, then the Black Tusks come and it's this whole like villain that you see. But that's at the end of the game after your max level and everything like that. Like, give me a little bit of that as I'm leveling, so I'm interested in seeing what happens with them.
It keeps you motivated and want to play.
Yeah.
Right.
Even with all the beautiful details and really cool weapons and stuff like that, if there's nothing to do, no story to keep you hooked to want to get back on and play it, then you're just going to end up burning out and stop playing the game.
Yeah. It's surprising because Ubisoft is normally solid on the stories.
Yeah.
See, yeah, but they always can't nail it, though. So Assassin's Creed, amazing story, but there's always something wrong with it.
Well, yeah.
And then you got Division, not enough story, but it's a good, fun game.
That's the thing, too, is the shooting in Division is top notch.
What's a game that they're 100% nailed?
I would say Far Cry story-wise. The Far Cry story-wise are pretty solid stories.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, they got excellent villains every time. Those villains are captivating.
Yeah, I do like that, yeah.
And even in the Assassin's Creed, the villains are lackluster, but the world creates a good story for you. And that's my other argument, is I liked New York better than I do Washington, D.C. New York was cool because it was like wintry and it felt...
Christmas time, I think it was.
Yeah, it was Christmas time. This is kind of afterwards, and it's like the swamp started to grow back in D.C. And it's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels, Dana brought up a good point, it feels like I Am Legend, and it does feel a lot like that. But I don't know, it just doesn't feel as it could.
Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. So the raid was pushed back to May as they kind of clean up some of their patch notes and stuff like that. They want to make sure it's top notch before that happens. You got to make sure it's really balanced, Yeah. Next up, we have Kathleen Kennedy confirms that Lucasfilm is developing a Knights of the Old Republic game.
Nice. Oh, I did read
That'll
that.
be awesome.
Oh, I can't wait. Have you played the Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2? Or just Old Republic?
Just Old Republic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Republic was a lot of fun. A lot of people don't know what it is. It was really big for like a second, and then everybody stopped playing. I have like the action figure right up there for it. It's a open world MMO, much like World of Warcraft, but it was all in the Star Wars world.
They're bringing that one back? Or
No.
they're bringing the old Xbox one?
I was just mentioning because that's what Jonathan played, right?
Okay.
Knights of the Old Republic is the narrative that fits in that world, right? And it's 1 and 2. Number 1 is one of the best stories in video games.
I think I watched you play most of number 1, though.
Yeah. Has a really sweet twist ending. I played it again recently on my iPad even, and it did really well. And then I actually went full villain. It was great. I went nice guy until you couldn't make the switch at the very end. Then I'm like, I don't want to spoil it. Well, I'm going to spoil it. The game is super old. So you find out that you're revving the whole time. Like, you're going this whole time, and then it's like you're playing this whole time as this guy who doesn't know his memories. And then you find out, like, oh, yeah, actually, you're Darth Vader. You just don't have bad memories right now. And so I went that whole way, and then at the end, I found out I'm Darth Vader, and then I'm like, okay, then give me my red lightsaber, and I start just killing everybody just to see how it was. It was pretty interesting.
Embrace the dark side.
Yeah, I embraced the hell out of it. So they're making another project in this world. They haven't said if it's number 3 yet. So I'm a little worried about it being number 3. What would you guys like to see that's set in this world? It's 1,000 years before the Old Republic. What would you like to see?
Some speed racing.
Speed racing?
Is that what it's called, right?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking something stupid.
I would like to see, because they've shown different forms of their technology in different eras. So I would love to see like a big jump back, 1,000 years, make a big jump back in the technology where they're just developing this new kind of energy source or whatever, because everything they have is, way
polished,
far beyond our technology. But show us some janky stuff and show us why, like you don't quite have speed racers yet, but you have the hovering technology, but they can't go very fast or something. So
that's one thing that's nice.
Glitchy stuff.
Yeah. With Old Republic, we've talked about this before, but it has like lightsabers, but the lightsabers are a little bit chunkier.
Yeah.
They have like an actual physical switch, stuff like that. So they're just a little bit not quite there.
Yeah.
Like we just figured this whole thing out kind of thing.
Give us a little more of that space age steampunk.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Space age steampunk. Very good term for it.
Yeah, I like it. I'm going to coin that. Trademark.
There you go. I would like to see a Battlefront take place in this era.
Yeah.
Because we need better Battlefronts. Those number 2 was basically gone to the wayside. Nobody even knows about it anymore. So I would like to see a good Battlefront come from this area.
Okay, I just rebought that on my computer and played it. So okay. Yeah.
Oh god, we need you to stream on that computer. I'm gonna set that up for you.
Show me.
Because you're playing because Squeaks currently he bought a nice gaming computer and now is filling up his library of PC games. And we need to be watching you do that. I've just been streaming retro games, so we need you to stream the new stuff.
Okay.
Xbox Game Pass. You and I both participate in Game Pass, right?
Yes.
Okay, Game Pass is coming out with Game Pass Ultimate, which is for $15 a month and includes Gold and Pass together. So you get Xbox Live Gold and Game Pass. You know what Game Pass is, John?
Yeah, it's like their unlimited gaming service.
Right, of Microsoft games and stuff like that. And the Xbox Live gives you the ability to play online, and then you get 2 free games a month, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Normally, to pay $10 each, now they're making them combined for $15. So that's just a cool little, it's a one-off story, but it's something that is like a no-brainer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Another thing for Xbox is next month, so that is in May. We're going to be getting Xbox One S that has no disc tray. So they're going full streaming on that. You have to have good internet to even use it, basically.
So I'm sure they must have something established for this, but does it have backwards compatibility where you can upload your games that you already bought that you have on disc form somehow?
Well, it stays with their Xbox library.
Yeah.
Your
So
account.
what if I buy?
So you had to have the Xbox One already.
Yeah. What if I go to GameStop and buy a disc and then I want to somehow?
Oh yeah, it has to be digitally.
Or if someone gives you one.
Into it, yeah, for sure.
Maybe I imagine if you go online though, you put in the serial number or something like that, and it could load it to your cloud account. Or whatever.
No, because I bought Overwatch 3 times, so it would have been nice to only buy once and then transfer everywhere.
That's why Microsoft's doing so good.
He was texting me. He was debating about getting another PC. He was like, "No, if you're gonna play Overwatch and you have the PC now to play it, that's the actual thing you play it on is the PC."
Yeah, so I was just staring at the menu for a long time, like, no, okay, I'll just buy it.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about the big news in gaming right now is PlayStation 5 reveals a ton of stuff. All right, so let me go over what we've got out of the PS5. It will be completely backwards compatible with PS4, including its accessories, including the VR.
Really?
Yeah, so the VR from PS4 will be on the PS5. Yeah. It uses a solid-state drive, which to me is the biggest deal. For an example, they showed this with Spider-Man. It would take 15 seconds for it to load a scene, and now it takes under a second. 0.8 seconds, and you're already boom, boom.
The solid state, everything's already active.
It's like a big flash drive.
You don't have to read a disc anymore.
Right.
That's awesome.
The CPU is an 8-core AMD CPU, blah, blah, blah. It's basically like AMD's third gen of the Ryzen for PC. So it's pretty state-of-the-art right now for a PC. That's the thing is a gaming PC, it kind of, when you look at the numbers, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, but I have a gaming PC that has that. So consoles have always been like one step behind, but they're for the broader audience.
Yeah.
We'll have 8K display support. So you got to go buy that 8K TV.
God, no.
Which isn't even, like, it's not even really accessible right now for most.
I can't even see that good, though.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I can't see 4K good half the time.
Really?
Yeah,
It's all about the refresh right now.
I'm going to go get an old tube TV and just take out my contacts.
There you go. Okay. It'll still use a disk drive, so we're still going to have the disk drive for them, which is kind of an odd step. They are the only body who's talking about still using the disk drive in the new generation.
Probably the
I
only
think
ones.
it's good, though. Really? I mean, you look in your room, you got a whole huge collection of DVDs.
Yeah.
If you want to just be able to watch an old movie, like, it's still nice to have that as an option for now. I mean, I know in 10 years we won't have DVDs probably.
But my purchase rate has gone down substantially since Netflix and stuff like that. Even my video game collection, just today, I was going through because we're recording this on Easter. I was going through the spring sale, and I picked up a couple games for $5.
Yeah.
And now they're downloading and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's so much easier.
And then you can digitally download old movies for like $2.99.
Yeah.
So.
But you got to spend that money again. If you have, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles or some classic movies, you don't want to go have to buy them again. And then what do you throw away your disc copy of it?
I couldn't do that.
Exactly.
Those are my babies.
Right.
I need my collection.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was kind of a surprise that they were putting the disc tray in there. They said that they will still be pushing for streaming. They actually were the first video game company to do the streaming service. But they want to keep the disc tray around. It's good for those with slow internet, too. And, like, internet speed limits. Yeah. With the net neutrality problems we're going through right now, pretty much everybody's going to have a speed or a usage limit, whether or not they know about it yet. So, Daniel just found out about his. So, he can only go 400 gigabytes now.
That's a month?
Yeah, which is rough. And
that's
then
that's from Comcast too. Huh?
That's Comcast, and they drop his internet out once he hits that.
So what are they forcing him like pay this much to have more or something?
No, they're just they giving him 2 leeway months to where if he does it twice, it's okay. After that, he goes back to like basically bottom DSL, and it's crazy. He spends a lot of money on his internet.
That's crazy because I have AT&T and Comcast is supposed to be the best thing in the world, but I never heard of anything.
AT&T has a limit on theirs too.
Oh, I guess I don't hit it yet. Then. Shoot.
Welcome to PC gaming. You're downloading and buying a ton of games. You're going to hit it because each of those games are like 50 gigabytes. So, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, until we get rid of the net neutrality aspect, and I don't want to go into all that, but until we get rid of that, streaming will be an issue. So, we'll see. And next thing is to expect it probably 2020, but the game's already in development. There's game studios that already have been making games for it. Death Stranding, which is like the big title everybody's waiting for Sony.
Yeah.
They have said that it'll be a title that'll drop on both systems.
Of course it will. That's why they're pushing freaking Last of Us also. It's pissing me off because they've been advertising that forever. And it's like slowly, okay, now I feel like you're just going to come out with the PS5.
Well, that's what everybody's afraid of. That's why they're making sure that it's backwards compatible and that you can, even when it is backwards compatible, that it'll upscale them up to 8K support.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. But it's one of those things where the game that always reminds me of this is Grand Theft Auto 5. I bought it on Xbox 360, and it was kind of like the last year.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as it was on 1, I bought it on 1 too. I bought it on Steam as well.
Did the same.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, if you like the game enough, you'll buy it multiple times. If you don't like the game, then don't.
Yeah.
But, I think Last of Us is one of those where everybody's going to buy it a couple times.
But I feel like they're pushing it.
On purpose?
So I get what you're saying, but I feel like they are pushing it on purpose to be like, well, you can play it on a PS5 and then
try to double the
see
sales.
like the full,
I don't know.
be like opening game.
It's one of those things, it's the transition into a new era of systems has always been shaky. It's always hard, Got to make sure everybody gets the same one. I want to sit down and make sure that you, me, Jonathan as well, make sure we buy the next system together. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't want to be on different systems. This whole time, I'm such an Xbox loyalist. You're such a Sony loyalist that we haven't been communicating well. I mean, we're both on Nintendo. That's the beauty of Nintendo.
Yeah.
But I'm down to play a PlayStation if that's what it takes. Because,
I'm just going to shop and see what... I'm actually literally going to look at all of them this time and then see which one I'm going to buy.
And that's exactly what I need to do. Because like last time, I was like, sure, if it's Sony's really that good. Yeah. And really, Sony it won this last console war. It did. So technically, I should have gone Sony. But I'm such an Xbox loyalist that I was like, no, there's no way I'm not going to get an Xbox and keep with the Xbox. So I want to make sure this next time that we're both on sure footing. So on that note, Xbox Project Anaconda is rumored to be more powerful than the PS5. So,
that's just what they came out with. Like, we'll just make it stronger, and then that's it.
it has a higher processor apparently. So there's very little information on it, but already like comicbook.com and stuff like that is saying like it's more powerful, blah 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 blah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's all they said. They didn't say why it was more powerful like that. It's supposed to be the processor. Yeah,
they win.
So Microsoft must own comicbook.com. All right. Next thing in movies, we don't have a whole lot about movies except for the celebration stuff. Spider-Man: Far From Home gets moved up a couple weeks. It'll be on July 2nd.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Avengers got leaked. Endgame. Did you guys see that?
Oh no! Thank goodness I didn't. What did
the whole movie?
The whole movie got leaked. Yeah.
Like that Wolverine movie?
Yeah, exactly. Like X-Men Origins. Right?
Yeah.
The Wolverine movie?
Yeah.
Oh. What's the someone
put it online? For like a month ahead of time.
It's an unpolished version though.
This is the full-on version.
Dang.
Yeah. That's
gonna hurt somebody's pocket though. That's an
expensive
movie.
This movie.
There are ways to get it, but I would not suggest getting it. We here on Geek Freak say don't get it.
Oh, yeah.
There has been a hashtag don't spoil the end game.
Is that why they came out with the letter?
There's a letter from the Russo brothers.
Is that after that? I read the letter, but I thought maybe it was just like, because Endgame's coming out, we don't want people to post things about it on Twitter. That was typed up and released by the Russo brothers the day that the leak happened. I didn't know the reason why. I just thought it was like, hey, if you go see it early, don't spoil it for everyone else. I was like, okay,
no. There's a lot of people out there that are just jerks or whatever that are watching it, and then they're gonna spoil. Yeah, there's a lot of anticipation about what's gonna happen. How's everybody back? Spoiler alert, it'll be time travel, I'm sure, but I haven't seen it yet, of course. I'm just assuming.
Spoiler, Captain America dies.
Yeah, so try not to watch it, guys. We're gonna do a review of it that week. We're trying to figure out schedules because it's a really hard week for us. We have one more person who's gonna join us, but he's being pretty quiet on the text messages, so I'm gonna get a hold of him today, and we'll get it together. Oh yeah, I gotta still talk to you about it though.
You're the person that's quiet.
That weekend we have like a birthday party thing, so we're trying to work around that.
Okay,
surprise birthday party for you.
You already passed things.
That's how big of a surprise.
That's the surprise. 6 months late.
Never saw it coming, right?
All right, next up that we want to talk about is Star Wars Celebration. We're going to break it down into three major...
Finally. I'm just here for the
three
Star
major
Wars.
talking points. We'll start with the movie because that was the big one. Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. First off, how do you like the name, Susan?
Don't.
Love it.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Okay, Susie first.
Why do you like it?
Just sounds badass.
It sounds badass. Skywalker's in the title. That's how it should have been a long time.
So we saw Luke vanish, assuming died, became
Spirit
the Force,
mode.
whatever.
Yeah,
entered the Force. So, but this means he left heirs, right? Or is this supposed to be him like?
Well, I think he's still
form like Yoda.
transcended.
That was my thing
He'll
too.
probably be ghosting around. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he'll probably be just hanging out and ghosting and stuff like that. So he's not gone. He'll be in the film, but he'll be like Obi-Wan Kenobi would. Old Ben would like visit Luke. Yoda would visit Luke, stuff like that, to give him advice and tell him like what to do and stuff like that. So I think we'll still see Luke Skywalker.
I'm hoping to. I mean, I don't know how much I hope. It just sounds like from the title that it's going to be he has kids that we didn't know about or something like that. But.
I think that might be a part of it. We're going to find out that there's a Skywalker out there, the Rise of Skywalker. Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll be the new Jedi Order. Will be called the Skywalker Order.
You forgot he had a couple nieces.
Well, then is this the reason that we're gonna find out with maybe
Kylo Ren or not
Ray?
Ray's true parents.
Why I felt like that was the wrong name, but yeah. So it might be something with her, or I feel like it was the ghost thing.
Well, Leia is a Skywalker as well, so we could see, and Leia is the mom of Kylo Ren, so we could see Ren becoming like the rise of Kylo Ren in that way. He could take back his old name, which is Ben Solo, so it's not even a Skywalker name.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of tough one.
I don't know.
Yeah. We're getting Kylo Ren, he's getting his helmet back. They're seeing him reforge it together.
Yeah, it's better with the helmet on.
He does. I like. He
took it off in that first movie. I was like, oh, okay, I'm very intimidated now.
I think he looks cool.
That was it. Wow. Okay, cool.
I like Driver as an actor, so I'm cool with either way. But we're getting a new character called Naomi Akid. She's a new character, and she's rumored to be Lando's daughter. They didn't deny it during that celebration. Everybody was like, "Oh, is this Lando's daughter?" And she kind of was coy about it, so she's good chance she is. I'm
gonna stop.
Yeah.
Don't introduce new characters. This is the third movie. Let's
There's
just
a lot of
get it going.
We haven't really dug into much.
Exactly. We don't even know the original stories of these casts.
Some of the best characters are introduced into the trilogy. Lando Calrissian, Boba Fett. I mean,
yeah, but these are number 2s, right?
Those are number 2s. Are we
thinking this is the last movie is supposed to be with the story, and we're still going to introduce new people? I don't know.
The Emperor really kind of... I can't think of a character that was introduced in the third one, original 3.
Yeah.
But Disney knows that they can create spin-offs and stuff like that. It's going to sell like crazy if they introduce some other hot new characters.
Well, after this movie, the funny thing is, I think they listened to the fans. After this movie, they're going on hiatus. They're not going to make another Star Wars movie for a little while, so we kind of cool down a little bit. Because after the Solo movie, everybody wanted to like burn down.
We'll get the series anyway from the Disney Plus, so that'll like entertain.
Right, we're gonna get Mandalorians. Yeah. We're gonna get a lot of content. They're making really good comic books right now. Yeah. Speaking of characters that came in later on in the trilogies, Lando Calrissian is back, played by Billy D. Williams again. So the original Lando Calrissian.
Really?
Yeah. He looks like a badass dude. He was up on stage as well. So
this jumps back forward into the time frame of
this has always been forward. This is after the Empire falls and the New Order starts. The First Order starts.
Okay.
So Lando's still out there. He's just chilling. He's probably playing his poker or whatever it's called. I know other people know the name. I don't. But he's been out there.
I was thinking of was it Donald Glover playing him in the Solo movie? But that was jump back in time.
That's one thing too is the time travel.
We'll probably get a scene where he's all sad because he finds out Han Solo's dead. Of course.
That seems fair. It's his friend who died.
Yeah. It's already predictable though.
Stupid emotions.
It's predicting it now.
What I hope we don't get is a scene where he comes in, flies in, and saves them because he happened to be the last minute thing. We get that a lot in Star Wars. We get that a lot in all the movies, but in Star Wars especially, where like our heroes seem like they're in a dire situation. Then in comes the Millennium Falcon to shoot down the last TIE fighter, and then they're fine.
Yeah. What a coincidence. You were in the right sector of the galaxy at the right time.
Yeah, exactly.
They always say how big the galaxy is. But I was running into each other.
It's like 3 neighborhoods wide. Next up, there's a lot of new practical effects in it. They're not using a lot of CGI for the characters again, which is a J.J. Abrams staple. Because J.J.'s back to do this one. He missed out on the middle one, but he's back to... He's a producer.
But that tricked me, though. God, what was it? The character, that general? Was it... come on, help me out here.
Which movie?
Was it... Rogue One. I don't know, blanking.
The general.
They redid the general, right?
Oh, that was CGI.
Yeah, that was crazy CGI, though.
That tricked you, huh?
Yeah, it did at first. I was like, hold on, how's he still look the same? Or like, how many years later?
He has passed away, yeah.
But I thought that was pretty good CGI, though.
They did Princess Leia in that movie, too, and that was an example of bad CGI. Do you remember how they did Princess Leia in that one?
She was out in space?
Yeah.
Well, because the thing is, they kept... oh boy, I'm going to be upset that I don't know that name. But anyways, they kept him kind of in the shadows the whole time, a little bit dark. So the CGI was helped by that.
Yeah.
They put her in full light. And it was like, ooh, that looks rough.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, so we're getting a lot of like actual creatures walking around, which is cool. I like when they do that. It's cool to see behind the scenes. We get a new droid called Dio. Again, practical effects. So where like BB-8 is actually a robot that rolls around like BB-8 does in the show. Like that's a real robot.
They designed that to do what it does.
We have a new one now that's like a giant wheel that rolls around, and he's got like this cone thing on his head. He's adorable already. I want action figures already. They got me. Yeah. I'm getting the pop. It's gonna go on the shelf behind me somewhere. He's really cool. So we got a new droid coming, and we have a whole new trailer, and we're gonna post it on Patreon completely for you guys, obviously, to watch. And yeah, after this, we're gonna go on hiatus. So, what do you guys want to see out of this new Star Wars movie the most?
A good one.
Keeping it broad. Don't go too narrow on us.
Nah, that's only my opinion.
You just want to see it just to be a good story.
I would hate to see a bunch of new characters like I already described about it. It needs a finish though. It needs a good finish with each character story.
You don't want it to like go into the next trilogy or anything like that. You want it to just be done.
Mm-hmm. Especially because this was the last one of the Skywalker period anyway, right?
That's what they said originally, but they've shifted on that a couple times. They've kind of leaned out of that a little bit and then back in. I wouldn't mind seeing some Kenobi stuff, but
yeah, I want to see. So there's so much to the world, but I want to see expanded like Rogue One and then the Solo one. But give me something different, like the Mandalorian one they're doing. But expand the world more. It's huge.
Show the pirates. The pirates are so cool in the Star Wars universe, and they're not seen in the movies. Mm-hmm. Not barely, anyways.
Yeah, I just want to see something like that.
What about you, John? Is there anything you want to see in the Star Wars movies?
I agree with what he's saying too. Like, kind of wrap up the Skywalker storyline and what we've seen from the previous movies. Have those arcs have a conclusion, but still broaden the world, like you're saying, so that we can have like a video game based off the pirates or a comic book series based off one of the new characters they bring in or something, so that we can still get more content out of them, but it doesn't necessarily have to be movies and they don't have to follow the same story we've been following. Have more branches.
How would they change the story though? It has to always be Empire and Rebels, right? In a way.
Yeah, but we can see. So the one thing I want to see, and I thought we would see it last time, is Grey Jedis. I want to see a Force user that balances both good and evil, and has to deal with the consequences that takes. Yeah. Would you kill somebody if it's for the betterment of the world? A Jedi might not, but a Grey Jedi would, because they would take in both accounts that like this person's going to do more harm out there, or they would let harm happen knowing that it's what keeps balance. Grey Jedis truly keep balance. That's one thing with Jedis and Sith is the Jedis preach about keeping balance all the time, but yet they want to get rid of all the Sith. That's not balance. That's only the life force. You need both sides of that.
So these Grey Jedis are not in the movie?
They're in the books and stuff like that. I think they're also called Cosmic Jedis, but they're mostly known as Grey Jedis. They're in the expanded universe, which got all deleted basically when Disney bought them. Oh. And it's something that should be brought back because it's more complicated Jedis. It's more of a complicated storytelling mode. Not just blue and green lightsabers are good and red lightsabers are bad.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just kind of like, okay.
Adds a lot more depth to it. You really got to ponder that. Like you're saying, if you let somebody live that is going to go kill other people, oh, yeah, I'm a good guy because I didn't kill somebody, but I allowed this, even if it's a Jedi that's going to kill a Sith colony or something like that, I just allowed him to kill 50 people.
And then have that conflict between him and, like, if he's supposed to be working more to the Jedis, where the Jedis are upset with him because he let something happen like that.
Yeah.
Right.
You see all that.
Or even as a Sith Lord, like, he could be, like, trying to just keep the Empire in order. We see the Star Wars universe, the original trilogy, through the eyes of the rebels. I would like to see them from a Grey Jedi or somebody who's seeing that the Empire, in a way, is creating order throughout this chaotic world where if somebody robs you on the street, you can get a stormtrooper to go chase that person down, to arrest them and bring them back. Not necessarily stormtrooper, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, that'd be cool to see a political drama, like in the Republic. Like, there's no Sith Lords and Jedis. I mean, they're out in the world doing their thing, but you're part of like the Senate trying to negotiate, kind of like veto.
Isn't that kind of like the first three, though, in a way?
The ones that are not cared for by much. Doesn't go into the politics more.
It does, yeah.
But I would just like to see that, where we see the Empire, because, of course, the victor goes to the spoils, and that's who tells the stories. Mm-hmm. But I like to see the story of the Empire trying to create order in the universe, and a Grey Jedi that sees, maybe working with Sith or Jedi or whatever, but maybe they see something that's like a colony being taken over by the Empire, and they're like, yeah, but they had women and children killed 2 months ago or something like that. The Empire needs to come in and take over. Yeah. It would be just interesting. I think it's actually more of a TV series more than a movie, but,
then you see a Grey Jedi go rogue, and he's doing bad and good.
Of course. Yeah, you can always see that it just says like, well, yeah. You can always see something. The idea of the Grey Jedi is that they wouldn't go rogue. They are rogue. They're already outside of the two norms, so they wouldn't necessarily go rogue on rogue. Yeah. But
I think we're seeing a lot more. I don't know. I think we're seeing a lot more success in TV series now, anyways. Ever since Netflix took over,
and AMC did well too.
Yeah, and you can just binge watch stuff. So I think that it's a very realistic possibility that Star Wars will slow down on the movies. I mean, Disney in general, maybe slow down on the movies and invest more into short series like that.
Then cool. You can expand on the stories. You can elaborate more. You can go into depth and whatnot.
And if a season isn't too great because they didn't like the certain character or whatever, then you start a different branch.
It cut Dorne right out of Game of Thrones basically because of that. Yeah.
You could do dumb ones like I wouldn't say dumb. It'll probably bring it up and make it more popular, and then you put it into parts and stuff. But like the speed racing thing, like I brought up.
Yeah.
I know it sounds kind of ridiculous that I am bringing it up all the time, but you could do like a quick series of just that. Yeah. And it'd just be a bunch of racing, bunch of crashing, action, and all that stuff.
Some guy who fixes speed
racing about being like Anakin was passionate about it.
His dad owns a bar and he keeps him working over there, but on the side he's building a speed racer. And he wants to be able, you could be But
then you bring it to the parks and be like, oh my gosh, now speed racing's a thing now.
I'm thinking
it would be a speed racer ride.
Exactly.
My brain is working so hard to figure this. I gotta explain what my brain's doing right now, guys. It's taking Talladega Nights and trying to figure out.
I thought of that in my head
Naboo Nights or something like that. I'm working so hard to figure out what's closest possible to Talladega in the Star Wars world right now that I might as well just explain it to you guys.
But you can do little things like that where it's not so much of Empire versus Rebels. It's because some more little fun.
While the lords battle above them, all the civilians are still living in their camps and their towns.
What if? Okay, so that's one thing I love about Daredevil is while Thor and Iron Man are smashing, Galactus, you have Daredevil that's out there just trying to like get people's purses back and stuff like that. He's working Electro on the ground. Mm-hmm. How cool would that be if there was a street level, not quite a Jedi that's out there just trying to like keep rent low for his neighborhood or something like that. That's just trying to be cool about stuff. There's a lot that could be done there. Yeah. That is not necessarily. So it'd be cool if we got. So let's get back to what got us into this topic. It'd be cool if the next Star Wars movie wasn't just another Star Wars movie. Yeah. It actually brought some more of the world that we haven't seen yet. Get to the gritty stuff. I love the gritty stuff in Star Wars. Now, next up, speaking of TV series, we got right into it. We'll go to The Mandalorian. That'll be coming out with the launch of Disney Plus. It's created by Jon Favreau. He did Iron Man 1 and 2, Jungle Book. He's doing the new Lion King movie.
Way too good.
He did Zathura. You guys remember Zathura?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I like Zathura. Remember Zathura, Susan? It's like funny because right? It's actually based in Jumanji's universe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And what's cool is if you watch Jack Black's YouTube channel, I can't suggest it enough, Jablinski Games, he actually calls his movie that he's working on right now, he calls it Jumanji 4. Because he says Jumanji, then Zathura, then the Jumanji relaunch, then this is Jumanji 4.
What? I didn't watch it. Is this a movie or is this a show?
What?
The Zathura?
Zathura? Oh, yeah. You haven't seen it before?
No.
Was it a lot of fun? What's the young boy in that from? He was in something big. Was he?
He's on a lot of stuff. I think it's even got the one from. I know we can't remember names today.
The boy from Hunger Games.
It does.
Yeah.
It has. Peeta? Yeah, Peeta from Hunger Games. Yeah. He's one of the kids. The big sister, is she the one from Twilight?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
But it's all before all that happened, so these people are no names at this point. Yeah. But basically, they get a board game, they open it up, and it's a space-based board game with like 1950s kind of Fallout space decorations.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, you are blasted off into space, and the house starts shaking, and they're in space or something like that.
Yeah. So this is a copycat of Jumanji, then, basically.
But it's made by the same people. It's not necessarily.
So it's acceptable.
Yeah. It's supposed to be kind of a.
It's in the world of Jumanji.
Not even a sequel, but a similar story.
A lot of fun. Their Robin Williams is a funny guy too that I've seen in a lot of stuff like Let's Go to Prison. He's the prisoner from Let's Go to Prison.
Yeah, or the guy from Idiocracy.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but
shit, yeah.
I was looking at pictures.
Sorry, showing them pictures.
Dax Shepard, right?
Dax Shepard, thank you. Yeah, he's cool. I like watching him on Twitter.
Anyways, but yeah, good movie. Who produced it though?
Anyway, so Jon Favreau, we're getting way off track on everything today. That's fine. Jon Favreau, he also made that movie. Check it out.
And you said he's making the
Mandalorian.
Right now,
He's making Lion King right now. Yeah, okay. He's making the Mandalorian TV show.
Okay.
They get this cast ready, okay? The main Mandalorian, they're calling him still the Mandalorian, is Pedro Pascal, who is the Red Viper, Oberyn Martell from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
He's the main character of this.
That'll be cool.
Okay. We have Gina Carano. I'm sorry about the name, but that's what I have so far. Gina Carano. She plays Angel Dust in Deadpool, which is the really strong woman from Deadpool. Mm-hmm. She's on the bad guy side. Taika Waititi.
Uh-huh.
Do you know who I'm talking about? Taika. He's a director and the voice in Thor Ragnarok. He's the voice of Korg.
Oh, the rock guy.
The rock guy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He's quickly becoming more and more
funny.
awesome. Yeah.
It's so funny.
His directing style, though, is really, really cool. They were actually talking about him coming in to do Guardians of the Galaxy after James Gunn was out in the back end. But yeah. Carl Weathers is going to be in it from Predator and what I really like from Arrested Development. Mm-hmm. And you remember who Carl Weathers is? Squeaks, I'm getting a blank face from you.
I know.
I'll show you a picture.
Okay.
Susan, your job is to Google. Susan's kicking your butt.
Sorry, I know. I'm not Googling because the Sharks are on the playoffs right now, so I'm literally watching that at the same time.
And then here comes another fun name to say. Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh, I know that one.
I know Jonathan knows this one. It's Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. He plays such a good character. He's such a deep, intimidating voice. The way he speaks is awesome.
Yeah. And he is in the next Star Wars TV show. So this cast, I'm already happy about it. They showed a lot of secret footage to the audience, just to the live audience of the celebration. Mm-hmm. So if you were watching the stream like I was, you didn't get anything of it. And it'll take place after the Empire, but before the First Order, and it'll be on the Outer Rims, where the
pirates are.
The pirates are. So nice. I'm excited about that too.
So it's after number 6.
It's between. Right. It's between number
6 and 7.
No, yeah, 6. Shit, these numbers. Mm-hmm. Number 6 and 7. Yeah. Okay. I'm always thinking number 3 because it's the third movie that came out. No, that's not the case.
I could see that Gus Fring being a pirate captain.
Oh my God, how awesome would he be? I would join.
Keep calling him by his character's name, but I can't remember his real name.
Yeah, so this might be what we're looking for when we're talking about a greedier storyline because it's all in the Outer Rim.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I'd like to see them bring in the Hutts. I always like the Hutts. It'd be cool to see. Because like a good example of the Hutts is in, speaking of the Old Republic, the MMO, the starting zone for a lot of the Sith, not the Sith, but the Empire players, you actually deal with a whole council of Hutts. And so you got to see different Hutts and stuff like that. And how they're actually mob bosses that have like mob families and stuff. So it's pretty cool. I would like to see them see the Hutts and see more about that Hutt life.
Do you know why the Hutts have so much power? Are they wealthy from like a...
I wish I was a big enough fan to tell you. I don't know enough.
I mean, physically, it seems like anybody could kill them because they're just giant slugs, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a jack of all trades kind of guy, so where I know a good amount of Star Trek and Star Wars and this and that, but I don't know enough to give you that kind of deep.
But yeah, it'd be good to see. I mean, if they were to explore them more, explain why they have so much control.
Yeah, I'd love to find out. Yeah, it had to be something. Maybe they found some sort of like ore on their planet or something like that.
Exactly. I mean, fuel source or something.
Yeah. So that seems pretty cool to me. Next up, last big announcement from Star Wars Celebration was Star Wars Jedi: The Fallen Order. We had a new trailer showing a hiding Jedi who is hiding after the temple had fallen in episode 3. And so he's kind of been, he's trying to, like, you know what reminds me of a lot of when you first see him? Tyne AE.
Oh, yeah.
The main kid from that. He's just keeping his head low, doing like salvage work on old ships and stuff like that, just keeping his head low. It's really cool because he's doing a outer or inner monologue while he's doing this. And he's saying like, whatever you do, just don't reach from inside. And then like his friend falls while they're working and he's reaching for him. You can tell he's going to use the Force. And the whole time there's an Empire robot right by him. So you can tell he's going to use the Force to save the kid or save the guy and then blows cover.
Yeah.
During this timeline, there's these things called Inquisitors. They're basically, and we play as one in Force Awakened or Force Unleashed. They're out there to hunt down all the last Jedis after Order 76, 66, whatever it was. You remember what order it was?
No.
I keep going. I'm done going to you for information.
I mean, that's a super old game. I can't remember anything.
You're a flat tire right now, man. You're killing me. Anyway, so so you're running away from this one who looks amazing. We live tweeted the event, so there's a bunch of images on our Twitter account. You guys can check them out. We have a new droid companion that'll be with us the whole time called BD1. That's going to be kind of like your flashlight. It'll be kind of this auxiliary character in the game that really is your tools.
Utility,
yeah. So your flashlight, maybe he'll bring up extra ammo if you're using a blaster, stuff like that. So it's kind of this sort of companion pet type of thing like that.
Nice.
Reminds me of the Love Cube from Portals. We know it's coming out the 15th of 2019, November 15th, sorry. And they said no microtransactions, no season pass, no multiplayer. So just a good single player story again.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, so that's how Force Unleashed was too. There wasn't any side stuff like that, so I'm pretty excited about that. The main character is played by his character's name is Cal, and he's played by Cameron Monaghan. Again, names. He's from Gotham and Shameless. He's Joker from Gotham.
Oh yeah. Oh god, he's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Shameless. I should have got it right there. Yeah. You remember the redhead guy from Shameless?
Oh yeah.
He's gonna be the main character.
Yeah,
and they did a good job capturing the face.
Yeah,
he was so stoked on stage. It was fun to watch him on stage. Just to like, he even said like, "This kicks ass." He was excited. So
that'll be cool.
That'll be a good game. I'm happy to see. I like those story-driven games. I think that's where gaming keeps the older audience.
Yeah, it's nice to have multiplayer, but it's nowadays you can't really. I don't think you can do both. It's good that they keep them separated because when there is a multiplayer, they put so much emphasis on that, so much because I'm sure it makes a lot of money.
That's where the microtransactions are.
Yeah, but if you just keep it on the story and put all your power and energy into a story, then you make a good, solid game.
So,
that'll be cool.
Except for what nowadays was I feel like we ran into this a couple times with story. It's too much story, not enough gameplay.
Yeah.
And I know you have one in mind. I hope I'm speaking about right now.
Well, okay. If it's a good story, then that's fine. If it's just random garbage story.
So, okay.
Are we both talking about Kingdom Hearts 3?
But I'm also talking about, yes. But I'm also talking about this game I super love because I love the story. Is the Order 1886, the old one.
Oh, yeah. Boy, that looks so good.
Love that story. Love it, everything. But it's just like it. You do a little bit cutscene. You do a little bit cutscene.
Really?
But I've beaten it like 4 times and got my first platinum trophy with it. So I'm pretty proud of myself.
Oh, that is pretty good. Yeah, actually, platinum trophy is hard to get. That's 100% finish, right?
Yeah.
The thing with that one is when I saw it, I was like, man, why is this not a movie? Because I want to watch it, but I don't want to go buy an PlayStation for that game. It's a PS exclusive.
I was trying to look for books or anything that would be in the same world. But I don't know if they're going to make it number 2 because how bad it went. But they have to just because the world is amazing.
They have to completely retool the gameplay, I'm sure.
For sure, yeah.
You know what'd be cool is if a game like that, if it had a feature where you could just watch the story. Pop it in like a DVD.
More and more games are creating, like, it's funny you mentioned that, actually. There's a Yoshi, I was just trying out the new Yoshi game, and there's even a mode, there's, like, basic mode, and then they call it breezy mode, that's meant for you just to enjoy the idea of the Yoshi story. It's where you don't have to actually, like, get invested in, like, dying and restarting to get good at it. I think a lot of games are trying to do that now, where they're trying to make it to where you can just enjoy the story. There is another game I was trying to remember while I'm saying this, I can't remember. They created a hard mode and an easier mode to scale for both players.
Yeah. They say that on the difficulty on games too. Like if you hit easy, it's like for the people that just want to enjoy the story. Yeah. So you kind of like just breeze through everything. Which
I think is good. I think video games sometimes is some of the best stories, and a lot of the part of video games that's a good story doesn't necessarily mean isn't part of the difficulty. There are times where it is, but your difficulty doesn't affect the story a lot of times. Last bit of today is we're talking about a comic we reviewed. We were asked to review a really fun comic, I thought, called Invasion from Planet Wrestletopia, created by, I'm going to say these names again. I'm not good with names today, but Ed Connell and Matt Enton. Matt, thank you for having a decent name. It's easy to say. But yeah, so they had gotten a hold of us and wanted us to take a look at their new comic book series coming out. It'll be a 6 series and then created into a book, and hopefully some further after that, depending on interest, I think. And so just real quick, I'm going to get a quick idea of what you think of its overall. That was
pretty decent, actually.
You liked it?
Yeah. Little knick-knack stuff that I thought was okay. Generic wrestling stuff like, the brother and whatever. But it's kind of funny because it's a nod to it also.
Yeah. Heavy nod to wrestling.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But I actually did like, well, I mean, I guess we've probably seen the story a bunch of times too. But the fact that, I just made up this whole title of being the best in the whole galaxy. Next thing you know, there's a real planet with real wrestlers, and then they invade Earth. Like, okay, this is not real.
Yeah.
But then, for them, they got all these powers, and it is a real thing. Yeah. So I thought it was kind of funny.
So we got the first 2 issues before release, so we're going to be kind of spoiling those first 2 issues. Just a heads up, if you don't want any spoilers, look away. We will have there's an article I just posted on our Patreon, completely free, that I don't think I spoiled much of it. So you're welcome to read that article if you don't want to hear us spoil everything. Jonathan, what do you think of it overall?
I really enjoyed it too. I like it, like how Squeaks was saying, like the brother and stuff. The terminology they use is very much like 90s wrestling. It's so funny when you read him. I can't quote it right now, but the way he pumps himself up when he's like keying in over the radio and stuff like that, just communicating.
Yeah.
Listing out all of his titles and all that stuff. It's funny. It definitely feels like the 90s wrestling.
It's funny you guys bring up the brother part a couple times because and I think that's what kicked it in for me, but while I was reading a lot of the wrestler lines, I did them with like old wrestler voices in my head.
Definitely. I did that the whole time. Did you have any people specific you were like
So I think Hulk Hogan was our main, right? Yeah. He's our main character. I thought was Hulk Hogan.
What did you think? Sylvester Stallone, but yeah.
Oh, were you? Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow. I wanted to do it again now.
Yeah, because to start with, I was trying to do that raspier voice, but then I was like, wait, no, his face, he's kind of a more like, I don't know, more of a broad.
After the time jump, he can kind of, it fits in a little better. Yeah. So I did Hulk Hogan for him. Eric Salter did Cactus Jack. You guys remember Cactus Jack?
Yeah.
Susan, did you watch any wrestling when you grew up?
No.
No? Okay.
No, Pocahontas and like Ariel is as wrestling as I got.
It's funny, I did get Ariel's voice for it.
For the wife, right? Or the girlfriend?
Yeah. Exactly. So I ended up doing a Cactus Jack for a couple people. I think it was mainly, by the way, how cool is the main bad guy's name, Manifest Destiny?
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That's like the coolest wrestler name ever. Yeah. I loved it. Okay, so story-wise, I liked how we kind of had 2 different story types in this. We had the down on his luck wrestler who thinks he deserves more, kind of trudging through life. And then because of a wild claim when he was younger, we have this planet of crazy wrestlers. I mean, there's nothing else to say about that. It's like the farthest reach of Rick and Morty, basically, which this company that's publishing this also publishes the Rick and Mortys.
Yeah.
It's that wild. Everybody's in costume. My favorite thing is when they do invade.
I was gonna bring that up too. I like that part too.
Go ahead and explain it.
No, it's just they invade the whole world. So you see like London, Beijing, whatever, but it's just wrestlers going against people with guns and stuff. But they're just doing these wrestling moves on everyone.
You see like giant suplexes off of buildings and stuff like that. It's great.
They literally like to challenge this one wrestler who said he's the champion of the galaxy.
Yeah.
They take over the planet. They pin down like the president's, guards, and they're pinning everybody who's armed or not, and literally taking over the planet.
The one panel I thought was just like wonderful was in Rio de Janeiro. They have the big statue of Jesus, and you just see you can see wrestlers climbing up top of it so they can jump down and pile drive people. Just like a series of people pile driving off the big statue.
Yeah, I think it is going to get better though, because now you kind of see like, okay, when they ran into our main.
Yeah, Rory was his name.
Rory, yeah. At the bar, they started really fighting. So now we're going to be like, okay, this is going to be real wrestling on their planet just to prove it. What
I liked about that, so this whole time we had two different versions of stories. We have one that's more somber tone, and then we had the one that's kind of more wacky tone, right? The weird, delightfully weird, really, tone of this planet. Mm-hmm. And then along with those stories, we also had two different art styles, too. They were drawn the same way, but they were colored very differently. Where with Rory's story, the somber tone was much more browns, yellows, oranges. It reminded me of like Southwest and that kind of maybe 80s, dry. And then when we're on the planet, we have like every color you can imagine was used, purples and blues and everything like that, right? Because it's designed to look like comic book characters, or not comic book characters,
like
wrestlers.
Like we would like the way they put it on the screen for us to see, get people excited and everything.
Yeah, and so what I really liked is when you could tell that they're going to verge together, and then when they get into the bar is using browns and yellows and stuff like that. So they enter his world, and their colors tone down quite a bit. And then as he's fighting, everything starts to ramp up again. It's just kind of cool that they use colors to really fade in and out of which story you're watching at that time.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah. Did you have any favorite side characters? I'm trying to remember.
There really was. I'm trying to think too. Yeah, there really wasn't that many characters.
Yeah,
there
except for the Hawaiian manager guy. Yeah, that helped him out.
Dong Fong Wong, which I think was actually his professional name, not necessarily
Chinese his character he was playing or something like that.
Yeah, I really love that character. He's the one to me. Like, there's so much emotion in this. In only the two issues that we read, so much emotions that kind of surprises you.
Yeah.
But there was a shot where, again, we're spoiling this, but they have an argument in a car, and this is after.
Yeah.
The manager has basically given up his career because Rory gave up his career.
Yeah, walked out.
And so they're both kind of stretching themselves, but the difference is Don has his wife at home. Mm-hmm. He's more stable in his personality and stuff like that.
Yeah. And he's older. He's not ready to be just running the road the rest of his life.
He's ready to retire. So at that moment when we see him in the car together, it's where he's like, look, man, I don't need this. I'm kind of doing this because of you. I gave up my career already for you.
And Rory's just a slobbery drunk. Right?
Yeah, Rory's drinking because he feels like he wasted everything and now he's really drinking. So there's a shot where he ends up leaving him on the side of the freeway in the desert, and he's driving away, and it's this classic shot we've seen before, but done in comics, it's done so well, where Don's looking in the rearview mirror and sees he's just standing in the back. Mm-hmm. And then Rory's just standing there, and it's just a shadow of Rory. And then we get a close-up of Rory where the shadow is over his eyes. I mean, the artwork in these comic books is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's very Venture Brothers to me. It has like the thicker outlining and stuff like that, or Archer is the same way. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. Is there any highlights that you guys any kind of highlighted moments you want to talk about?
I do want to point out in one panel I noticed, and I don't know if I'm seeing it right, but it looks like the wrestlers from Wrestletopia are actually bulletproof, or
are they? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, because when they were taking out the Secret Service or whatever,
sense. Yeah,
you see little ricochets. It looks like off of them from when they're getting shot. So that kind of makes more sense why they're able to take over the planet.
That makes sense. They can only be hurt by wrestling moves.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of this story.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's funny.
That'd be cool. Okay. Any favorite moments you got over there?
No, mine wasn't taking over the Earth. That's why when you're bringing up, I wanted to talk about it. But yeah, that was my favorite moment.
You can even see actually that guy's getting shot with a cannon from a tank.
Oh yeah, and it's just bouncing right off.
So this is going to be pretty neat then, because we are going to get just a normal human going to be fighting these superhero people in a way.
That's what it takes. Is you need a Rory Landell or whatever to take them down.
I think that's the whole point too. Is it's going to end up where the whole world is watching. it's like big invasion's happening. I think this is my prediction. It's going to end up where we just watch Manifest Destiny take on Rory.
Yeah.
And it's going to take like, I'm looking forward to a Rocky IV moment where the Russians are rooting for Rory because it's like true wrestling or something like that. I don't know. Bro, we're predicting the future now. But
they literally caged the planet as if we were going to run.
That was probably, I got to admit, that was probably my least liked moment because I was like, because they had to have the telescope to see it. I'm like, how did you not catch that? It's a pretty bright pink fence that they're putting around it.
It's outside our atmosphere. You can't see the laser beams.
Weather should be changing right now because there's a fence around it. But yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun to read. One of my side favorite moments too was the random bear for the first half of the comic book.
That's a real bear, like doing wrestling moves, right?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this guy in a costume or something.
Why is the comic book not about him? I want to know more about this bear that is really funny. Like they even like touch hands like they know how to do wrestling, and then you see a bear swipe. It's just like done. They did a really good job with panels where they actually, John, you're looking at a good panel right there. That's a good one. Where I'm gonna point this to everybody else. It's a colorful panel, and then they do the contrast panel right there on the bottom where it's black shadowy figures and then the white background, which conveys emotion of emptiness to us. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of really get this to where, you know, he's getting beaten up, emptiness, he's by himself again, and then we just see that he's on the ground, you know, passed out or knocked out. Yeah. They did a really good job. The artwork of this conveyed so much of the story, even without the text balloons, sorry. And I really like the comic book. I think it's definitely worth a read. It is. So we had a text chain going on. We always do. And we had talked about Anthony, or Cheddar, who does a lot of our social media. He was talking about like, oh, it's 40 pages. It's a lot to read. And I'm like, no, it's definitely not 40 pages. I thought it was like 20. It's 55 pages.
Is it really?
That's 55 pages?
Did it feel like 55
between the two issues? Yeah.
Because when you do it in the email, it says 36, and I think I was like, oh, this is kind of quite a bit.
36 in the first and 28 in the second, I think. I mean, mine. It's with the
actual page. Pages. Well, I'm talking actual page numbers of actual panels.
Oh yeah.
55 pages of panels.
Yeah.
And I read that so fast. I thought for sure it was 20 pages for both. I could have swore you.
It's the way they structure it. It just flows so smooth.
Flows
too.
very, very well.
Which one was there? I was reading the Umbrella Academy, which did not have that. It was a good story. I liked it, but it was not structured well enough to where at one point I was like confused. Like, wait, how did I jump?
Panel
from here
flow
to there?
is so important, and people don't. That's one thing. I'm reading Watchmen right now because it's like if you're a comic book fan, you have to read Watchmen sometime throughout your life. And it does I want to say it's the 9 panel where it's always 9 squares the whole time.
Yeah.
I want to say it's 9. It might be the 16 one, but that's one of the things where it's like it's nice because it's uniform and it's clean. This one seemed pretty clean. There were a few insets. There were a couple splash ones where it's the full page. I remember very well the Manifest Destiny announcement is full page splash. But yeah, it's a very good read. And I know we're not just saying this because they asked us to review this. There it is. You actually had it right there.
Yeah, Manifest Destiny taking that.
We're not just saying it's good because they asked us to review this. I truly enjoyed this comic book, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of them. So
it's nice to have I mean, I don't know if it's like original story of how everything's going, but it is nice to get away from superheroes or whatever.
Yeah, and it still feels kind of like that world too. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, what age ranges are recommended for the comic
good call.
book?
So you brought that up because it does say some cuss words, and I did like that because it did feel like more of an adult cartoon kind of in a way.
Even he has a big drinking problem and stuff like that. If you're not an adult, you might not grasp that. Yeah. The idea of how empty Rory is because of when he was a child, things were rough for him too. A lot of that you wouldn't grasp if you were younger, I think.
But definitely like young adults.
Yeah.
Maybe teens.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, it's all about wrestling and stuff, so little kids aren't really probably going to be too interested in that anyways. Not to mention the fact that wrestling I don't think it's big anymore.
I guess for us, then,
actually, what's funny is, and I do want to talk about that.
Oh my God, flip a channel and you see the stadium. Like, how is this thing still selling out?
It is still selling because it has a resurgence amongst. It's so funny you said that, John. It has a resurgence amongst geek culture.
Really?
It's thriving in our culture.
Wow.
It might be a blind spot to you and me, and Squeaks, you still get WrestleMania here and there, but
I watch the Bellas and WWE Divas.
Yeah.
So to see them do their regular life stuff, but then they go to a wrestling event, you're like, how is this? The last one was like WrestleMania. How is this so many people?
It's picking up, and the reason crazy. It seems like a surprise to me is because I know you and me, and I'm sure you too. We got into it back in the Rock heydays. I talk about this in
the it's about Stone days.
Oh no! It's called the Rock days. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm wrong over both of them. It's called the Rikishi days.
Get his trays.
So we really got big into it then. We got the pay-per-views and everything like that. It was a cool thing where we all got together and watched wrestling together. Talked about the drama and stuff like that. And
it was so cheesy though, looking back now.
Gosh, yeah.
But even when you watch it now, it's still cheesy, but you're like, oh, I get it. It's because it's fun. It's just fun, And so that's one thing I liked about the comic book or the comics is it kind of brought back the parts of wrestling that I remember and liked. Was this like Manifest Destiny? I keep saying that name because I loved it, but you know, like that overreacting and stuff like that. And then the idea that you could see him like walking. I don't know. It just felt, you know, what was a movie that reminded me of so much? Ready to Rumble. Remember Ready to Rumble movie?
Yes.
It reminded me a lot of that too, that where he's in the trailer stuff. Anyways,
with oh god, I can't remember
I can't remember any of the names. I love that movie. I can't remember any of those names.
Oh man.
Anyway, so I suggest checking it out. What do you guys think? You think it's worth a read?
Oh yeah, it's definitely
especially like try the first issue or 2 issues.
Yeah, I would say
first 2. Once you get to the end of that second issue, you're like, okay, I'm hooked. I gotta see where this goes.
I'm glad they gave us the first 2 because I think it was just the first one. It would feel a little incomplete. I think you need that second one to really grasp the invasion part. Mm-hmm. You know, them on it's easily the funniest panels. Well, that and bear wrestling, but it's easily the funnest panels when they're actually invading and you see crazy suplexes and stuff like that. So I suggest the read. I think it was a lot of fun. I have a bigger article I wrote up. It's I'm not a professional writer, so please don't judge me on that. Thrown up on our Patreon, again, completely free. So as is everything from here on out on Patreon, it's all free. So make sure you guys check out Invasion from Planet Wrestletopia, written by and created by Matt Etten, Ed Connell of Suspicious Behavior Productions. Check them out on Twitter, SBP_comics, and Facebook. You can find them Suspicious Behavior. I think that's about it. Next week we'll be talking more news, but mostly Avengers, because that'll be Avenger time. Nice. That's going to take a whole episode to talk about that movie. Oh, yeah. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us, Susan.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye. Thank you for joining us on the Geek Freaks Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at GeekFreaksPod. We're also on Facebook, Instagram. You can email us. We have our Patreon and a store. All those links are in the description. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.